Hello everyone, welcome back. In this episode of Bitcoin Trade, I'm going to do kind of a little bit of experiment here on a chart analysis. What you're seeing here is a lot of freaking lines, and well, let me try to explain it a little better. Okay, so this is a Bitstamp, and that's the current price, and this is what it's done. And so what I got here is a couple things here. What you're seeing here, this is the experiment. These are Fibonacci lines. I do experiment with them. Sometimes they make sense, sometimes they make no sense. You put the lines out there and you try to match them up, and somehow they move between these sets of lines, and you can see how they're set up as 25, 50, what is it? 23, 38, 50, 61, 78, 100, whatever these lines are. There's a certain percentage distance between them, between 50 and all that. When you look at it, it kind of makes a lot of sense, but hindsight, it makes a lot of sense, because when you see him move, it makes sense now. But can you use this along with some lines here? I made a line here, so basically I'm going to try to back out here. Well, anyways, I'm not going to back out. I'm going to just go ahead and just explain it. So where are these lines coming from? Well, these are, when I pull back to a longer time period, I found a channel I can kind of draw the lines into. And so the channel kind of goes like this and like this, and if you do it yourself, you'll see a nice channel forming here, going up. And so, and this line here is just from this top to this top, representing a resistance right here. And you can kind of see that here, as it bounces between these Fibonacci lines here, okay? And so, hindsight, that's great and all, hindsight that this makes sense, and you should have, been trading on this information. So, if this works so well, hindsight, I wonder if this works well, foresight. So, how would you do that? Well, let's just play around with it. Let's move this around. So I drew up my lines here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this, this is kind of slow, I'm going to take from this right here, from this low to this high. So I'm just going to move this on over, is basically what I'm going to do. Something like that. Now you're seeing a whole bunch of lines. And one of the things that you'll notice when you're using Fibonacci lines, when you're using triangles, when you're using channels and lines, I mean, they all make some kind of a triangle intersection stuff. Well, you see me do this before, where I pull this forward and give you an idea of time frame. Well, you can kind of do that after you make these lines and these channels and these resistance lines. You can kind of see into the future, although there's nothing here, a possibility of what can happen. So what I'm going to do is, I'm probably not going to do all of them. I'll probably just do Bitstamp, since they're the now leading US dollar exchange. I'll probably do my analysis on this, and but I'll go through all the other exchanges as well. At least BitC, Bitfinex, and Hobu. I don't know if you all noticed, but we've had a nice uh, movement in price going up, which I did anticipate, and so that's good. I think I'm onto something, and so um, when you're onto something and it works for you, and it just seems to make sense, um, well, you don't want to. Uh, what is it? What is that saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so I'm just gonna just go into it a little bit here, um, of some short-term. Uh, I guess at this point you truly are speculating slash gambling in some way. Uh, you're taking a really educated, I would say very educated guess. Sometimes when you do chart analysis, um, it's probably the most educated uh, guess, speculation that you can ever do. You probably spend more time educating a guess of where the price is going than you would, like, I don't know, doing your taxes, or um, I don't know, dealing with your friends and family, and all. I mean, you put more work into this than you do in if you had a job, or if you have a job, than your job when you start trading or doing chart analysis and everything. So it's ridiculous sometimes. Anyways, what I'm gonna do is um, I've drawn out my lines. So I basically mapped out this chart for the most part. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to, this is all an experiment, and you get to just watch it. You don't have to do it. I'm just going to watch it go. And I'm going to take this episode, I'm going to cut it into, I'm going to cut in and cut out like I do with some of my other videos. But we're going to progress. Okay. I'm gonna try this out. This is just an experiment. I've never done this before. I do use lines. I do use channels. I don't use Fibonacci lines, but I'm just gonna put them there anyway to see what I get. As you know, when I do a channel, I draw a line as a resistance to see how far after it goes up. And now this is a different strategy because you're um, going up, so the trending is upwards. It's a different way of looking at the chart, and different strategy, but I'll just show you what this is, and you get to look at it and you'll see how it progresses. And then one thing you notice is I draw the channels, and then within the channel, the price and movement, I draw a resistance line, and wherever that line goes, that's kind of like a time frame for me to between this and this, if you see that triangle with all these lines. And so I'm watching the price to see if it stays in here and does this. While it's doing that, I also want to see where it bumps up and down on these Fibonacci lines. A good place would be this. So I like to see how this moves, and then if it goes down, I want to see if it stops right here, or if it goes past that, does it go right here? I just want to see how it plays out after we establish some kind of mapping of this chart, okay? And so that's kind of what I'm doing. And if you notice that there's a big intersection right here, when you see something like that, you just can't, you're just drawn to it for some reason. I don't know why. I guess the way the lines are set up, it just looks like a point of interest. But anyways, I draw my line, and I usually set up this as a time frame. But I noticed that this Fibonacci line goes right through it. So it could be something, it could be nothing. Like I said, you know, if it's following this channel, it would make sense that this would slowly work its way down, and oftentimes you'll see these Fibonacci lines that you draw out. And when I drew the Fibonacci lines, what I did is I took the lowest point here, and then I just dragged the line up until it made some kind of sense. And so I dragged it all the way up here because this movement here and this movement down here and this movement up here, and now it's just jiggling up here, makes a lot of sense as far as I can tell. And also when you pull back, it also makes sense retrospectively. It actually makes a lot of sense retrospectively. You know, it's not exact, but it just makes sense. I mean, if you let's say you started back here and you drew out your lines where it matched, this is the bottom part, I mean, you would absolutely, every time it touched this bottom, you would be in a limit order. And if you just watched it play out, I mean, you would know that the top price would be up to here, which is actually at 253.45. And so hindsight, yeah, you know, this all looks good. But now that we got an established kind of hindsight map here, I want to see how that works going foresight. So let's play around with that idea. And so this is kind of what I've come up with. At least short term. Remember, this is on an hourly. Alright, so this is just an hourly. And it'll take about, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'll take about maybe 3 to 4 days to play itself out until it gets to this point, which may or may not be critical. The thing about what I'm doing is I'm just going to set it this way and cut in, cut out, cut in, cut out, and see how this plays out. And now that I've set the foresight map, let's see if it really does what it does, because that'll be pretty interesting. A lot of things I have been doing is once it makes this move up and then wiggles its way around, I draw this line that makes sense, and let's see how far it wiggles, and to the point where it breaks out of it. And then at that point, I'll compare it to the other charts and see if there's anything that looks like it's going to be breaking up. In my opinion, in general, as of right now, we are trending up. The channel out here, if you, I will back out now on this and go to a 12-hour. So there's my channel anyway. So here's my channel, and if you look at this channel right here, it is trending up, and you can see where I put my points, and it makes sense here. This one is my top point to top point right here, and it kind of does make sense, especially right around this channel area. And so this is the Fibonacci line that I drew. It's just from here to here, and I just want to see if on a short term, remember I just pulled back on the hourly to show you general what I've done, but remember this is really a short term chart analysis, so don't take this like for a long term or anything, but you can use this for a long term, but this is just short term because I'm just experimenting, because what I'm doing is I'm mapping everything out, and then I'm just going to watch and see how it goes. And if I see something interesting, like it stops, it wiggles, it works its way down here, and then it pushes down and stops right here or around this area. This could be another place where I might put a limit order. And then as for potential limit orders to sell your Bitcoin, here's your other potential right here, and right now it's just at what, 250. It can move another $3 up, because I think this is like in a small wave scenario here is a 1, 2, 3, and then it wiggles its way kind of sideways for a while, and then a fifth wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That typically completes the wave. So it could move up and hit here soon. So maybe after, if you look on this as only an hourly, but after it wiggles a little bit and then works its way touching this and then bouncing off of this and into the resistance, it may just break out of that and then push up a little higher to, I think, 253, and then who knows what's going to happen after that. We'll see how that plays out within the channel, and we'll draw another resistance from the top going down to see if it breaks out or breaks up or breaks down. And so this is what I'm going to be doing. So I'll cut in, cut out. And so let's take a quick look at each of the exchanges. So that was a Bitstamp. This is Bitsy. If it okay, just there's nothing there. Let me see. All right. Well, anyways, I'll redo Bitsy. I'll just cut in a little bit later. But you can see here that this has also been done. This is Bitphoenix, and you can see hindsight, it makes a lot of sense. I've done the same thing here, and then so I'm just going to drag it out to here. You can see Bitfin's a little bit more clear as far as the channel and the line. It's a little bit steeper as well, but based on what it's doing right now, you can see that it's it's up against this resistance here, and we'll see how if this is going to bounce around and push, and how that correlates to the other charts. And then Hobu here, there we go. And so hindsight, and what I basically did, again, I just took this and I pulled it up until I think that there's some kind of correlation here, hindsight, okay, and then hopefully that correlation hindsight will tell me on the foresight, if I map this out right, where it might end up, which here, here, and here in the price. So as this trend line goes like this, and the Bitstamp really shows really nice trend line here, and then I'm sorry, not Bitstamp, Hobu shows a really straight out trend line. I haven't put any resistance line in yet. Of course, I'll do that. Let me see here. I'll put it in right now. Let's see what comes up. That's the trend line right there. No, nothing here to hit. Missed everything. But there's another time frame right there. So what is it? We're already into this day. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So next 4 days, next coming week, we'll see how far it goes, and we'll see how that progresses. And so, anyways, let me cut out, and I'll cut back in. For the most part, I'll be looking at bits. Well, I'll be looking at all of them, but I'll do most of my analysis off of Bitstamp. If there's anything different, I'll switch in between. So until next time, let me cut out here, and then we'll cut back in. And if I see anything significant, you'll see it as it happens. And that way, if this is something that you want to employ and use, feel free to do so. I do something like this, but never really in a short-term time frame. If I do something like this, I always try to pull back to a longer time frame without all this junk. And you know, like I will, I want to redo another one. I'll just open another one here. But I'll pull back to a longer time frame to see what's really going on. And a longer time frame is like 12 hours or 1 day, 3 day, something like that. So always look at the longer time frame to get a sense of um, the direction. Is it, I mean, even though it's, you see, hello everyone, cutting back in here, and it's morning, almost 9 a.m. out in Houston time. Anyways, this is a Bitstamp, and that's the current price, and that's what it's done so far. So let's take a look here. Let me just drag it here so you kind of get an idea of how it's going. So I took out a few of the lines. So last we saw it was coming like this, and I kind of left it at that and just it's on an hourly. It did kind of break through, but it didn't break through these 2 points here where we're at the 50 and 23% range. I'm sorry, 50 and 23% range here. So it hit up and then it's bounced around, and it's kind of making a push up high, but you see it's hitting up against this Fibonacci line. Interesting. But it did break out of this short trend here like that. So it is breaking out. Question is, if it breaks above this, will it keep going until it reaches 253.41? I'm not sure. That's the whole point of this experiment, is to see if this well, how it works itself out. Is there something to Fibonacci lines? Is there something to, trend lines and all that? And Fibonacci works almost in the same way like triangles, as they move up and down and up and down. And time frames, it does correlate somewhat. It's kind of weird how it does that. But then again, it's just an indicator or tool you can use for trading. I don't know if there's any actual, factual basis for using this, if it's a good predictor or a good way to analyze. Like I said, I never tried it, but in short term, you can kind of see results on it, or get some kind of results on it, at least on an hourly basis. I'll just go over real quick. On some of the other exchanges, however, it's a little different. This is BitC, and you see this was the high, but now this is the high, and so making a trend line going like, make a trend, kind of like, well, it's pretty much even now. Oh my gosh. So anyways, when you see things breaking up, like when your line looks like, if your resistant line looks like this, which if you look at that, that's a pretty good channel line, I would say, a resistance channel line going up. As you can see that it's hitting here, 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 and then here, and then here several times. The way it's going, it just seems like it's ready to bust out of this trend line, out of this upward channel line. And this is the top channel here, and so if it's ready to break out of that, that's really good news. As far as Fibonacci goes, let's just check it out. Sorry if this video is going to be long, but I'm going to put all these videos together and everything. And this is what I thought it was going to do, something like this, in which it's already sort of breaking right around here. See, it's even breaking. The bodies of BitC is a little different because of the spreads here, but you can kind of see where it's going. You see the trending, and then it's starting to trend up, which is unusual for well, I don't know if it's unusual for Bitsy, but you know, Bitsy sometimes can, you know, you can really see moves on Bitsy that you can't see on other exchanges that kind of help you out on that. And then let's go to Bitfin, just real quick. Different story though on Bitfin, as you can see that original line was like this. It did break out of it right here. Sorry. Well, anyway, something like that. It did break out of it right here, but if you look at, let me see, I'll just put the line right here, and then, but it's still a downward trending resistance here, slightly, like that. As far as the Fibonacci goes, I think I had it somewhere right around. I had some channel lines here, which I didn't use the bottom of this. I used a channel line. I'll just try to guess it out or something. Something kind of like that. Something kind of like that. Anyways, I'm trying to match up with all recent, you know, movements in price, and as you see, it's come down, bounce around here a little bit, and it's pushing up. It may hit up here and bounce around in here and then push up higher. Price target for this is, I think, 244 or 246. So anyways, that's that. It's still not showing yet on Bitfinex. So if you see some of the earlier exchanges starting to move and you see one kind of lagging, you can kind of take a little quick action and see if you can get in at a particular price and see if it actually moves with the other exchanges at a slightly lagging time. In other words, one exchange might move faster than the other, and so if you see one exchange moving up, breaking up, and another exchange hasn't, and you have an account on that exchange, you could kind of, you know, put in an order real quick, or a market order, and see if you can get some coins before they start moving as well. Because I'll notice that, like, some things will start to move, and then all the exchanges will start to move, and then that's kind of one of your first signals that something's about happening. Something's about to happen, I should say. And let's go to the Chinese exchange here real quick. And on the Chinese exchange, you can see it's acting just similar to the Bitsy exchange. That was the high. And so let's just go ahead and do Fibonacci. I think this one shows it really well, kind of like that. And you can see it trending upwards, and it's still trending upwards. Never really bounced around in here. The two, see the highest, this high point and this high point kind of make a slightly, well, you can't probably see it, but that's probably the trend, the channel line that it's making here. And if you can imagine one coming down here, there probably is. So it looks really good. So anyways, let me cut out and let's see what's happening. So far on Bitstamp, this is what it looks like, and I'm just using Bitstamp as the measure. And as far as Bitstamp, because it is the leading US dollar exchanger, it looks like it just hit up here, and it did slightly break out, but now it's stuck at this Fibonacci line. We'll see if it starts breaking up on it. Looks like most of the exchanges are up on this extension of the Fibonacci line. We'll see if it's able to make that third or that fifth wave hitting up, and then we'll see how much up it goes, or how after it goes up on that fifth wave, it starts going down. Usually it may even follow previous downtrend line and all that. But again, I'll leave the Fibonacci lines here in place, and we'll see what happened, or, you know, we'll see if it makes any sense. Okay, bye now. Hello everyone, I'm cutting back in here, and as you can see from the chart, alright, I just kind of left it as is. This is the line from previous. I took out the channels because it broke above, I think it broke above the channel. Anyways, I just took it out to make it simpler to look at without all the lines and everything. So basically, I did put this line in for this recent hit that was high, the recent high. Um, Basically, that was what you saw from, I believe, the day before. The next day, actually, right about here, started breaking up. So by the time I came back and looked at this, it was already breaking. Actually, it wasn't breaking out. It was just about to break out. It finally did break out, and look, it just pushed up past this, and now it seems to be bouncing around. So I'm going to let this continue. Let's see how it goes and where it ends up. I'm going to leave this alone for now, because eventually, once something like this already happens, where it makes a new high, um, we can start, you can basically start all over again. You can either choose to go here to up here, or you can choose, if you're getting into a tighter time frame, choose one of these low from here to here, and then you can kind of see what's going on. On a 1 hour, I think this is on a Bitstamp, everyone. So Bitstamp, 1 hour, and this is the current price. And so if you're going to do 1 hour, I would just stick to this bottom. If you're going to do the Fibonacci lines from this bottom to the top, but you can see that it is moving. Went up past this, and I'm sure there's some kind of channel line here that you could probably draw in, and it's probably hit that channel, the top side of that channel, trending upwards, something kind of like this, or like this, whatever you know, whatever lines you want to draw, and you kind of see that channel just moving along here, or it's going past that channel and breaking out of that channel, pushing even higher. Now, if you see that, excuse me, if you see something like a channel like this, an upward channel, or something like this, my point, a channel going, and the price breaks above this channel, like this, okay. If you see a price breaking above an upward top resistance channel on an upward trend, that's a really good sign. That's a very, very bullish sign. That means that there's so much pressure, buying pressure, that it even broke out of its own up up trending channel, that even the top channel, the top line on the channel going up, remember it's kind of angle going up, so it even broke above that, just to, that much buying pressure is going on here. So anyways, in either case, if you look at this, I know this is just an hourly, but how the prices have been moving up and up and up and up, really, for me, that's kind of what you've been waiting for, right? Price to go up. But the way it's been going up, and the pressure of building to push it up, it's a long time coming. So my anticipation is that it'll go up. Anyways, I'm gonna just cut out now, and we'll continue on a little bit later. We'll see how this all forms out based on the lines that I drew from here. Remember, I from here to top, because it matches here on all this other movement and everything. So let me cut out, and I'll cut back in later. Hello everyone, cutting back in here, and so basically morning, late in the afternoon now, the price peaked up at 255 on Bitstamp. It's right now 252 or something, 252 Bitstamp. So you can see what happened here, and so it's my Fibonacci lines are here and to this point here, which actually I matched it right here at the time. So now I'm going to see where is it going to bounce off, and maybe this may be a little too early right here, but if for any reason it does go down drastically, I think it might hit here if it passes through here. Other than that, I mean, I can see it just going down, bouncing, and then coming back up, and then just playing around here until maybe it hits here. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm just playing around with this, and I'm actually just testing it. So far, it's seems to be working. After a while, I might have to redraw the Fibonacci lines to from this point to this point, and do the same thing like I did from here to here. And as you can see, the waves are getting bigger, and that might be another reason why these Fibonacci's kind of line up, because they do seem to sync in waves. And so as the wave gets bigger, you make a new Fibonacci and you set your new points here and see where they would move. So anyways, it's more of an art than a science. So anyways, that's what's going on. That's a little different thing I'm doing now to see, now that I know it's hit up against this. Sorry, this is just a crosshair line. So hopefully you see this a lot better and a lot easier. It's peaked out here, and I want to see how far it'll go. Will it be here? Maybe somewhere else? I just drew this real quick. This is probably, I don't know, it may or may not happen, but it's probably too short of a time frame for it to bounce off this line realistically, but you never know. Anyways, I'll cut out and cut back in as we progress. Alright everyone, I'm cutting back in, and I've changed the lines a little bit. And so basically the Fibonacci lines goes from here to here now, and this does make a lot more sense because you can see how it plays around in here, goes around, dips back. So let's see what happens. Originally it was from here to at least some point right around here. I've extended it, and so the thing about Fibonacci lines is that you always have to, it's a work in progress. It's almost like, you know, how I draw lines all the time. Well, same thing with these. You just have to keep doing them until they kind of make sense. And then this is my supporting line here based off these two. Again, 1 hour Bitstamp, that's current price. Very short term, but looks like it's working its way up. We'll see what happens. Let's see if it dips here, or if it plays around a little bit until it gets here. I can see what happens then, and then see how it falls down, or how it just keeps going up from there. So let me cut out and cut in and see what happens. Hello everyone, welcome back. Cutting in, and as you can see, the price has moved, and I did change the lines a little bit. Let me just go ahead and see if I can make some lines here for you. Originally what I had here was something like, kind of like this. And so what I had is I took this and I tried to measure out, if you saw from previous, and I made this the, what is it, 60, let me see, what is that, the 23%, whatever it is. I put the top on here at the time when it was just, you know, if you can imagine, when it was only like right about like here, basically when it was just right here like this. I put this here, and I would expect this to be the top, which it almost did, and then eventually it's wiggled around and then shot up. And so what I'm doing now is I'm redoing the Fibonacci lines, okay, and that's kind of how I came up with let me see, the high right here. There we go, high, like that. And so remember, Fibonacci lines and triangles and lines and all this other stuff, they kind of are a repeated pattern when you trade, and that's with any trade. It tends to, the price movement, especially when you know, something like Bitcoin, where you have no other metric than and you know, most stocks are like that. There's no, it makes no sense why the price moves other than somebody bought it and somebody sold it, right? Kind of weird. Anyways, took I raised it up, and I did see another kind of pattern. It almost looks very similar to the pattern that I saw here, the way it wiggled and moved around. Now you're seeing it here again. So I moved it, and you're kind of seeing something here. And so this is the updated version of it. And so obviously from where I was last time, the price has gone up and up further. This is on a Bitstamp, and that is the current price. You see it peaked out at 260, 256.50. It's kind of being range bound within here. Let's see how far it goes. I had to pull back to like a almost like a 6 to 12 hour to do a same scenario showing this going up. Anyways, it turns out to be an estimated target price upwards, going up to around short term 260, longer term 275. I don't know how far it will retrace. That's why you draw the Fibonacci lines every time it makes a new high from the low, and then that should give you some idea of where to put your limit orders, because if it hit here, this would have been a couple times a good limit order or a limit stop, whatever you want to do it. Here's another price here that around this range here, which would have been 251 to 250. What does that say? 256.50 or something like that. Of course, that high. So it came down here and then it bounced back up, and it's ranging right in here. If it continues, and this is where your lines come in, and I'll draw that line real quick. There we go. And so now you got some kind of time frame as you know, you pull the chart this way, so you can get a foresight view of the Fibonacci lines here. And so this can go on all the way up to this, and either it's going to break down, which this would time frame right around here, which would be what, the October 17th, I think. So, you know, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you got some time here where it moves around, and it's either going to break down, and then when it breaks down, you may be surprised how it'll just move around and move around and move, or how it just move and stop at certain points of, or very close to some of these Fibonacci lines. But again, the thing about Fibonacci lines is that you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. The 50% and 3 on the other side, 3 on 7. Yeah. So you got 7 lines to work with. Of course, it's going to move around or stop, or, you know, around certain lines. You got 7 of them. So, you know, when you draw it out, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, that's why I was always a little skeptical about the Fibonacci lines. But this is what's happening so far, and I'm just going to continue on with it. I'll just let it go, see how it works, and instead of you guys trying it out on yourselves and making mistakes, you could just watch this video and see how it happens. And then again, I've been saying this is on an uptrend. On a downtrend, it's a different strategy. On an uptrend, it's a different strategy. So this is when the prices are moving up. This is what you would kind of expect to do or see, or get an idea of how the price action will take shape. And then of course you can speculate all you want. So I'll cut out from here, and hopefully the next cut in I'll end the episode. Hello everyone, I'm cutting back in, and here's basically what's happened here. Prices being pushed up higher, a lot of pressure. Anyways, let me start all over again now. I'm going to move this back, and when I first started, remember this is kind of what all I had to work with here. And so let's use those Fibonacci lines, and or those fib lines. Fibonacci sounds too long for me to say anyway. So start from this bottom, and when I originally started, I did something like this because I wanted to match the bottom of this to this top because I wanted to make sense of the, of all the things that happened, hindsight. Anyways, it broke above it and then squirmed around, so I had to readjust it, and that's kind of what I did for the most part. Let's see, like that. And so when I was looking, okay, so I readjusted it, and then it just bounced up here for a while. Made a line here to see how it would work out, and it pushed up higher. And every time it breaks out of these fib lines, obviously you got to readjust your lines here. And so this became a point, or actually here, as this ranged around here, and let me pick the highest point here. Now this is still making sense because now this becomes a part of the Fibonacci lines here, and so you can see how it worked here. Everything still makes sense, and very simple, very similar to the whole concept of waves within waves within waves, and triangles within triangles within triangles. Well, same thing with these fib lines, is you got fib lines within fib lines within fib lines that work. So from here to here, and my initial prediction of moving it around, and so you could play around with it. You could have, let's see here, if you wanted to, let's say, for example, let me see if I can move this around here so you didn't see this. Okay. Now we're working hindsight, backtracking a little bit, but you can test your theory out. Let's say, something that works within these lines here. So, like that. So if you worked your lines kind of like this, or similar, you kind of see the whole scenario, this making sense, and then moving up, and then pushing, and then bouncing here and there. And if that made sense, then, you see that now when I put this here, I'm going to click on it. There we go. Sorry. So you see it. Now you can see that it did break through. So if you saw that, if you're able to play with the lines, the fib lines, to the point where it does make sense, you can kind of get a good idea of where it would go, up or down, and then you add a few lines in there to make it, give it some more clarity. See, like that. So short term, this is the supporting line, as far as I can see. You can probably make another line right here as well to see right where it took off, right about here. But it gave you a really good time frame. At least it did for me. I figured somewhere right around here, the way it was moving and bouncing, especially after this low, that maybe right around here, this time frame. And you can probably see it a lot clearer if I put a line there. Let me see here. This time frame right there, where this line right here intersects with this support line, you can see that's also the time where it broke out. And so if this continues, maybe another time frame here of something, maybe it'll retrace back down here at this point. That was the other thing I was looking for. I was looking for retracements in this time frame, and if you look at this time frame, it peaked out here and went down, never really touching the actual support line. But you can use the fib lines, and then here's the prices they'll tell you, but you can use the fib line as a time frame, and so you can look at all this. So let me move this out of the way now. So as you look at it, you can get a real idea of how to position yourself. And I only got this much time left, and there's what, 1, 2, 3, this is about 4 days worth. Today's Friday. This is still on a Bitstamp. I'm not going to do any analysis on the other charts because Bitstam's kind of deleting US dollar right now, so I'll just stick with that right now. But whatever exchange you're trading on, you'll get the basic idea of how this works. So hopefully in this episode, now I'm going to conclude it with this episode because I think this is a good example of testing some of your theories out on some of these tools, and to kind of get an overall test of where the market's going and test your theory of where the market's going. I guess I'll do one more analysis off of Bitstamp here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a day and let's see if it shows. Okay, so let's take I'm going to do another fib line here. So maybe there is something to these fib lines, but it's up to you how you want to use it. I guess it's all subjective. So using the high and low on a daily high and then the low, and if you look at it, even if you look at the hindsight, you can see how it moves around within these areas to push down and bounce up and really push down and then bounce and push down and then bounce and then move up and bounce. You can see some kind of pattern that makes some sense. But then again, if you put 7 lines on something, I'm sure you'll find a pattern somewhere. But for some reason, ironically, this thing kind of works. A lot of people consider fib lines, even though I kind of I demonstrated that it does seem to work. But at the same time, it's a lot of voodoo on this. If anybody does any research in these fib lines, they have nothing to do with charts, right? But it has math, and it's based on math, and a lot of these triangles within triangles, and lines within lines, and all that. It's almost like a fractal in some sense, but anyways. If you see here, you'll see that it's broken above, and it wouldn't surprise me if it reached 272. So it looks like it's still got some momentum to push it upwards to 272. Other areas that it can go to is 292. And if you really want to play around with this, you can kind of do some little prediction here. So I'm going to clear this out, and you can get, you just have some fun with it. Try to give yourself an idea of where it could go, and let's just say like that. Do you see? Okay, now we're seeing something here on a longer time frame, that this has pretty much reached its point, so it may bobble down up here. It could push up a little higher, which that price is. If it hits up, if it passes this and hits this particular line, I'm sorry, which would be 285, I think. Yeah, 285. Ultimately, you can kind of get an idea if you move the lines a little bit to the point where it kind of does make some sense. Hindsight. Let's move it just a little bit more, and let's see what happens. Just giving you an idea of how you all can play with it. Let's see if we put it right here at this high right here. Let's see if we get any lines or any good patterns that we can see. Yeah, we're getting some patterns here. Let's just click on it, and we're kind of getting some idea of a pattern here where it's moving around and peaks out right here, then bounces, and I'm not sure what that is, but it just flows here, and now it looks like it's topped out right here. So, anyways, you can just play around with this and get a better idea, but I kind of like using it for the short term. Because you can see the results faster. On a 1 day, you really have to wait such a long time. 1 hour will give you a good idea of how to test it. Anything shorter than 1 hour, I think there's a lot of too much noise. So it's hard to tell whether it's working or not. But 1 hour should work, and Um, well, that's how you saw it, everyone. Let's go back to the 1 hour and you'll see. So there you go. Anyways, this episode is a little different. I'm doing by time frame. Um, to show all of you how maybe somehow you can either test your theories out or test your strategy, um, how to back test, on some of this stuff by simply just going somewhere back into the past, just back into the past, and then do your analysis here, whatever you want to do, and then drag your thing forward to see what really happened and how your lines or fib lines worked out, so you can backtest this, right? So, oh, there you go. Anyways, don't you wish you could have gone back in time and just bought a lot of Bitcoins now? Well, I guess you could in your imagination, but anyways, this concludes this episode. I hope this is a little bit different video. I hope this helped you out, give you a better idea and understanding of how to trade. Feel free to comment, like, dislike, even leave a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.